Again, thank you, Space Symposium, for having me. Such a pleasure to be here with students and to present and, have a word about my company and what exactly we are working on. So my name is Anastasia. I am a CEO of a company called StellarMentis, which designs interior solutions and experience solutions for space habitats. And you can check out our website at staramentis.space. So we focus on how we can make sure that humans, not just survive but thrive in space, especially when we're talking about long duration missions and going to Mars. And you guys know that it's going to take at least 3 years of going to Mars. So how are we going to make sure that people stay sane, people stay collaborative, people have enough space to breathe, and just because you see, like in space habitat, you cannot go on a hike, you cannot go like in the forest or somewhere, there's no way to escape. So how are you going to make sure that we are staying sane? Because the reason why it is important is that uh, when there's conflicts in the crew and then everybody just really relying on each other, and if someone just has an argue with someone else, it just can lead to a failure of entire mission, and it can lead to entire failure of exploring other planets. So it's really crucial to make sure that we design for having second homes in space. So we focus our own ergonomic designs, ergonomic interiors, sensory experiences, basically meaning that we use virtual reality in our design, we use tactile experiences, using like 5 senses, not only just seeing, but also feeling, touching. So this is all about sensory experiences and intuitive interfaces that actually can help to learn faster and decrease the time that astronauts spend in training. So we have like kind of this six features that we implement in our design, because these features are derived from the transarticle research on human behavioral health, and also some NASA research and also architecture research. So environmental quality basically meaning that it's not just crowded spaces that you see on the ISS, so making sure that the space is clean visually, natural system. It is proven that when we are looking at the nature, or even at least watching something that includes nature, it's not basically, you can just look at the picture of nature and you still feel like you are relaxed much more than before. And so incorporating natural systems such as greenhouses, or maybe like favorite plants, also increase productivity and cognitive functions of astronauts. Physical activity, you all know that we need at least 2 hours a day to exercise. So what are the systems that what are the systems that we can create, not just for exercising, but also what kind of experience you could have while exercising. You all probably know that there's like virtual reality headsets, games where you can basically, I myself exercise with virtual reality, and it's just so much fun. So incorporating this feature into everyday life of astronauts is also diversifying their experience in space and improving their well-being. Sensory environments, as I mentioned, like focusing on tactile structures of your of our components, that provokes all these feelings, because again, like all these plain surfaces that you have, it really creates this boredom of being the same space. And then physiological and behavioral health. Again, as I mentioned, conflicts are really likely to arise in these long duration missions. You all saw it in sci-fi, like Expanse or Star Trek or Star Wars. Everybody get crazy on each other. And also it is proven that cubical health is the second biggest risks towards human access after radiation. So you all know that radiation is the biggest thing in space. Well, obviously, I'm not talking about system engineering and making sure that habitat and all the system work. Otherwise, we all die. But like after that, we want to make sure that it is safe to stay. There's enough radiation protection, or we have like maybe we modified our DNA, or and then we are not really suspect to radiation anyway. And then so the second risk after radiations, it's psychological health, and NASA is actually working on it, creating these rules on how you're going to make sure that staying on the moon for a long period of time, being on Mars, going somewhere else will improve our well-being. And yeah, so our focus is on astronaut experiences. So we separate two different users. It's the commercial and research operations, private and national missions. As you all know, there is a mission called Inspiration 4 that is upcoming this year, and then Axiom Space is sending private astronauts next year. There's going to be a few missions. So what's the difference between two of those is that private astronauts, they are staying for a short period of time, and then they're likely to do some research a little bit. And Axiom Space states that these private astronauts they're not going to focus on entertainment. They're going to focus on something that they can make useful in space. So this is a different users that we focus on, because again, like one of them is short term, what exactly they're going to experience, what's the one of the kind of experience you can have in terms of food consumption, in terms of developed games, and then research operation. Obviously, we're talking about astronauts, national astronauts that's staying for a few months at least in space. So how we work is that we collaborate with aerospace companies who owns or operates a space habitat and who is looking for, attracting more people going to space, such as private astronauts, or if it's a national entity such as NASA. NASA is focusing on how you make sure that astronauts become much more productive than they are. So we're focusing on clients' engineering constraints, and at the same time, we provide solutions for professional civil astronauts to thrive in space. So we just want to really give a deep dive into our company, because I usually give like really broad perspective on our company and space architecture in general. So I want to give you really kind of inner view. So because the reason why is that we are looking for new people to join our team, and it's just really good to know what you're doing actually. So we are result-driven plug-and-play team with versatile background to aerospace and architecture and design. I myself, I have a degree in architecture and master's in space architecture. So it's kind of aerospace merged with architecture and design and art. So it's this is the calling. This is what kind of people we are having in our team. We have cross-disciplinary lens to solve unique challenges, and honestly, it's like one of the kind of company that we're having right now. We believe that it's much more affordable, much more custom tailored experiences to hire us as a contract-based team to join our space company and work for say like 6 months, versus if they will have like full-time employees working on interior design solutions, because it's not cost effective, and usually like those people they don't have full-time opportunities. So usually what they do is that this interior designers, they'll usually will do some other design work, such as graphic design and such. So we basically focusing on this really niche market, really niche work that we can provide. And so talking about our projects, we designed this a new type of rover. It was part of one of the NASA grants. It was done by one of my teammates. So this project I'm showing right now, this is in some capacity done by different teammates of the team. I wasn't involved in this project, so, but I'm going to talk about a little bit. So our teammate Mahashi, who is a lead designer, he improved the visibility and accessibility of rovers, basically changing this nose cone structure and improving the view of the rover. You can read more on our website. We're updating this our website on Monday, and we will include this project as well. So I was involved in this project called Analog Habitat in Iceland. I was approached by Robert Zubrin, who is a Mars Society founder. He wanted to have a third analog mission built by Mars Society and run by Mars Society. And then they had the opportunity to build a next chapter of Mars Society in Iceland. So I cooperated with Fourth Planet Logistics, who is a local group of designers and engineers to come up with ideas how we can place this habitat. So okay, the biggest requirement was to place a habitat inside the lava tube. And this haven't been done yet in terms of analog habitats. So we wanted to make sure that this is pretty much kind of lightweight structure, and we chose to go with inflatable. So basically, we thought about how you're going to transport from surface to the lava tube and back, and how other people, like how people will have access to the station. And of course, our biggest part is interior design. You can see there are some systems that are extremely doable, lightweight. You can read more about on the website. I'm now just covering a little bit because I want to, have more time for questions. Yeah. So the other projects that we challenged with, it was we approached by, when I was in Houston, living in Houston, I was approached by Excalibur Almaz. It's the private company that owns a flown Soviet space station. Well, it was such a surprise. It was very interesting. So the client said that he would like to have this station placed in orbit and have these different users visiting the station. So pretty much a free flyer, not connected to ISS or somewhere else. So he asked us to come up with ideas like how you can integrate two different users, such as researchers and space tourists. And we created this rectangular enclosure you see in the middle that basically it's a sleeping area, and it's the most efficient way to sleep in space. Like there's because of the certain curvature of bodies, and they can be like 4 people. You can see more pictures on the website, but basically you probably will see more how you can fit a person inside. And there's rectangular boxes that you can deploy and store somewhere else. And there's like a lot of storage and movable screens that can change, the content of them can change according to what user you're having on board. Okay, so chair for Martian environment. I made this extensive research on analog habitats, and usually what I find is that for analog habitats, you don't really use furniture that actually going to be sent to space. You use some, office chairs and tables that are wooden and metal and very heavy. And I thought, well, honestly, this is not going to be probably used on Mars because it's just extremely heavy, which means that it's extremely expensive. So we designed this chair. It's a kind of one of the parts of the components that we designed. We also had a workstation that is extremely lightweight and doable. And well, obviously, when we're designing such designs, we are focusing on the constraints first and what's available, what kind of materials we can use, because the biggest problem in space habitats is off-gassing. So you want to make sure that materials are safe for daily use and cleanable very easily. Maybe you can try to really minimize cleaning, because again, like water is a scarce resource in space. So we created this chair based on tensegrity structure, and it made us, design something that is 10 times lighter than its normal chair. So we just really proud of this project. And so this one was like really highly conceptual project that I overtaken at MIT Media Lab. It was, like, if you probably heard about this concept called TESSERAE. It's a self-assembling space station made of hexagons, and you pretty much stack the tiles in a rocket and then you send it to space, and then it deploys, and then they self-assemble based on magnets and some AI. Not sure exactly how it works, because I came there to focus on what's going to be inside. Because the problem is you don't send a space habitat as an entire unit. You send it by parts, and then it assembles. So you want to decide whether you're going to have like something that is going there later, or it's going to be part of the styles and then it's going to be assembled with them or something like that. So again, there's very, very much interesting research findings I got on this project. Also, again, like you can learn more about it on the website. And not sure if you can see the entire screen. So we are really, humanity is defined by curiosity, and we are there to solve these problems because we believe that design is the significant tool that will allow us to become multiplanetary species. Well, of course, we need this core, core engineering, core, system, all the systems that work together. By the end of the day, you also want to make sure that there's minimal sacrifice you can make in a space travel, and how you can, minimize it. And design it's a really, really big tool to it. So we pretty much, designers, artists, architects, and some of us worked at aerospace, some of us worked in design industry. And this is our collaborators in the past. So members of our team have a history of working with world-class brands in aerospace, tech, and architecture and transportation. And we were featured in many publications. And so this is my favorite because we are always looking for talented people. We just, always on hunt. And we work remotely, so it's not going to be a problem. So at this point, we're working remotely. But before that, we're based in Los Angeles, California. So usually like it would be physical location, but as for now, because of the pandemic, we work remotely, and perhaps we're gonna stay this way until we manufacture some design solutions that we coming up with. And if you're interested to join our team, there's areas that we are specifically looking. It's space architecture, and it's pretty much already defined field, even though it's really nascent. And computation design, human factors, even marketing, web management, textile, material science. Well, I didn't actually include aerospace, but we do look for aerospace engineers as well. So make sure you also apply if you're interested. And yeah. And here's just our social media and our email. Not sure if you can see it. Can you see it? Or can you see this? Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much. I'm really open to questions. This is my favorite part, to answer any questions, and I'm try to be as short as possible. Thanks.
Thank you so much for the talk. It was really great to hear. Because we often talk about space, we always talk about the technology, but we always forget the psychological effects of everything that's going on. And it's great to hear that the work that you do, because it's very important, especially as our missions are getting longer.
Yes.
So does anyone have any questions as of right now? If not, I will go ahead and ask my own question. Where do you see stellar amenities going in the next few years?
Ooh. so I didn't disclose a lot, but basically we are in a way of getting into a partnership with a space travel company. So at this point, we want to focus on being really pragmatic, at the same time innovative. What it means is we want to combine, because you see, like having a space habitat just dedicated for space tourists is not that feasible because you don't have so many people going to space at this point. So for the next year, it's going to be really this combination of both users staying on the ISS and eventually on the Axiom space station. And I would think about this approach as imagine if you're renting a house, just a place in the United States, and you wanted to just burnish it in some ways that it does damage any walls. So basically like rental friendly improvements of your house. So what you do, there's like stick and peel walls, some temporary solutions. So we think about our work as kind of the similar way that we can develop some components that you can fit, and then depending on what kind of users that are there, we are just peeling it or maybe placing it back. And so it's kind of this approach for the next few years. As for the future, I see there is going to be really a lot of opportunities for designers and architects to express their vision. As for now, it's just very important to understand the restraints and constraints of our space and be really ready like to integrate into ecosystem, because currently we are still like making sure that we fit inside of this industry, understanding like how we can exactly work with our stakeholders and our clients.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
We do have another question. Go ahead and ask.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, my question is about the stellar amenities. What kind of works actually they do? I mean, in which title the stellar amenities is focused to work in the future even? Yeah.
So your question is what kind of work we want to do in the future, or what kind of work you're doing right now? Is it the question? Is it the right question?
Yeah, I wonder what is the focus of the stellar amenities to work on? The focus of the, I mean, is there any certain title that you work on, or it's general space architectural project that's been doing?
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. So we're focusing on, so space architecture has kind of two different fields, kind of subfields. It's this overall system engineering, make sure that habitat works. And this is pretty much, I got master's degree in this. And then the second is behavioral health and human factors, basically focusing on interior design. And we are the company that's focusing on just one thing, it's interior design, and what goes inside. We don't do structural design of space habitats. We don't do the just the entire thing. And the reason why we're doing that is just the biggest expression in terms of architectural and artistic is that we believe that it's interior design is because people are going to be spending most of their time there. Well, there's going to be some EVAs, but just it's going to be really little time comparison to how long they spend time inside. So we have the biggest kind of imagination to use, like the biggest expression of our design that can be used just in interior solutions. I hope it answers the question.
Hi, Anastasia. I have a question.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you have any physical mock-ups of like either the habitats you're designing, or I know you shared the chair design, or if there are any plans to create mock-ups so that you can do more human in the loop testing with people to kind of see, the designs kind of fleshed out and tested.
Good question. Yeah, we have a client at this point that is building a Mars, like kind of Mars-inspired habitat for himself, and he hired us to develop the solutions, like physically develop. Because at this point, we do have a lot of conceptual design, but yet, as you said, we don't have a lot of manufacturing kind of capabilities at this point. But yeah, you see it before. For the last few years, as I was working as a space architect, it was like really this question of funding and the question if whether it's going to build, because most of the project you honestly just work for free until you really find the investor and just really find how your project can be beneficial to someone. So yeah, we have the plans of testing our developments and testing our products. But you see, like, it's pretty much our company is service-based. So it's not just we develop something that's just one and fits all this projects that we're working on. It's usually pretty much focusing on custom developed solutions for a specific client. So yeah, but we do have, so with Axiom Space, we have really long conversations. Axiom Space, they're really interested in collaborating with us, and they investing towards, you know, having prototype developed of one of the solutions. I can't really disclose at this point, but yeah, totally good question.
Thanks for the answer. That's really exciting.
Thank you.
We're excited for the day that you can share it with us.
Yeah, it might take a few years. That's how the tendency of our space. There's something gets developed and it takes just a few years, and then eventually you can disclose it.
Yeah, there's another question in the chat. I can go ahead and read it off. They're saying hello, and how do you plan to expand your company over the next couple of years?
And yeah, so you see, we focus on developing the solutions that works for small spaces. So it's basically like multi-functional solutions and lightweight and deployable. And we see a lot of use in terrestrial application, and it's probably going to be, to make our business model more sustainable, because there's like a contract in aerospace once in a while, and then there might not be contracts at all. So in order to be sustainable, we might have like a daughter company or something that's it's done by Stellar Mantis but has different brand. And we are, my CTO is just developing this furniture that is just also multifunctional and fits into small spaces like apartments and capsule hotels and much more. As for our space department, so basically talking about Stellar Mantis, I see the development towards having more space tourist supported design, as we are just seeing there's more and more space tourism upcoming missions. So we seeing it as orchestrating these experiences, making sure that it's just really stellar. It's something that's just one of a kind, and we really focus on this product design and make sure that the clients, users who are staying in the space stations, that they are just having this plus times. Because again, like if you heard of Space Adventures, that is the company that been sending space tourists for almost 20 years. They don't have a lot of media coverage or marketing, and nobody really knows what's going on there. And we want to contribute to the ecosystem, making sure that this is kind of markedly feasible to have these experiences that we're designing, and having be able to promote it much more wider than it's been done before, making it more exciting. And yeah, I mean, honestly, if I were space tourist, I would like to stay on the ISS. I probably have much more interesting, maybe something inside of space station ISS. I mean, yeah.
There's another question in the chat. I can read that one off too. They're pointing out that you spoke about issues faced by humans in space and modular design. And how do you reduce the cost and the weight given that you plan to assemble in space? And if you could please also comment on the materials being used.
Yeah, it's probably a question about this TESSERAE I was mentioning, this self-assembling module. Yeah, it's highly conceptual project, and I wasn't responsible and wasn't in charge of designing this self-assembling space station. Neither I was responsible designing something that is self-assembled inside of space habitat, but I can adjust this question towards how you can design that increases the money you spent on it and such. We heavily use this principle of origami. My chief technology officer, he is origami technologist from NASA JPL. He designed one of this project, one of them called Starshade, which is a huge reflector that JPL is planning to send us soon. So it's pretty much reflector that will help us to take pictures of the really remote planets and stars. And in general, origami being widely used in medicine and space as well, space technology. And we are, first off, like how we work is that I myself, I lead the team and we come up with ideas, what exactly like we're gonna have. And then our technology officer comes up and makes sure that this creature that we created is it's lightweight enough, it has the appropriate materials, and it's multi-use. It has multi-use in mind. So this is how much I can say, basically. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Sure. So I think we have like less than 10 minutes left. Yeah, I can talk about anything basically. Can I share the papers, please?
Yeah.
I have a question then. So this might be a little bit broad, so let me know if I need to be more specific, but what influences your design when you're thinking about like long-term space habitats? Because, when we look in like things that have actually flown humans, they're always like very, very small and like bare bones, what will keep this person alive,
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. I personally get inspired by Japanese architecture and specifically their movement called metabolism. It was really a movement in the 1970s where architecture was considered as a part of a growing organism. And so I really see where space architecture is going is that you have like a person living in small spaces, and we want to really make sure that this person has enough mental space for themselves and have enough tools to use and diversified experience. And yeah, virtual reality can help a lot in this. But then again, like what are the parts of life on Earth that they're missing? And it's like probably sounds of birds, songs of birds, smell of the ocean. So I see this concept like we have this concept of what's called like I call it experience cocoon. Basically, you pretty much immerse yourself there with all these tactile experiences, and there's like vibrations and such. And for example, like imagine you're in space, been many years, okay, maybe months, and you from like Spain, and you say, okay, what's the temperature there and here somewhere like from your hometown, and then this enclosure can recreate this weather environments, such as, maybe it's rainy, so it's like creates rain. If it's humid, it's much more humid than space station. It adds some humidity. It adds some lights, and then you actually could have like a projected screen on your enclosure and see what's going on there. Probably have a call with your family. So like really being immersive. It's like pretty much what I'm describing is being done in virtual reality in some extent. We already have these headsets that basically saying, so for example, there was an experiment in Tokyo University where a person had two different cookies. One cookie is just plain cookie with nothing, and then other one also plain cookie. But when this person was eating the second one, it was projected that there's like a chocolate in it, and then it was also like kind of this aroma sent to his nose. This pretty much you could smell this chocolate cookie, but it was plain cookie. And then researchers asked if he tasted this as a chocolate cookie. He said, yeah, definitely it was chocolate cookie, wasn't? And like you can actually trick your mind using these technologies. And it's not that expensive, it's not that hard. This technology is already developed here. It's not just widely used yet. So again, like talking about this boredom of eating the same food, so how you can diversify this food. But yeah, basically you have like a magical powder, I don't know, like something that you can cook with, and then add this aromas to your nose, and then just really feel like this smells like a tomato soup, which is like, but basically it's just maybe a powder that you just eat. And so I see a lot of developments in this realm. And at this time, like when you have this experience, small living environment doesn't really matter to you anymore, because you can feel that there's no like restraints. You know what I mean, guys? I mean, it's like I believe that once we develop this thing, everybody will understand what I'm talking about. But at this point, like I just can't speculate about it. Yeah.
There was a quick question in the chat, and I'll go ahead and read that for you. How do you integrate interiors with the service facilities in space, such as bathrooms, the eating quarters, and etc., that are so different than what we have on Earth?
Yeah, so how I integrate interior solutions for these parts, this kind of field engineering. So yeah, again, like designing bathroom, it's field engineering at this point, but to make it feel better. So I mean, bathroom is not a good example, because honestly, it needs to have this full redesign by engineers. That one of my friends are working at NASA Space Architect. He proposed this entirely new concept for bathroom, basically showing kind of this Japanese inspired bathroom where you basically have everything integrated into walls. And it's not just something that you have this item you put inside. You already think about everything beforehand, and you place all these tools that you need everywhere, basically. And it's just really improves the human experience, just doing this basic thing as going to bathroom. As for a kitchen, Mingali, yeah, so if a company that work with us want to improve this parts of the interior, they'll contract us, and we work with system engineering team and understand like what are the constraints, what kind of volume we have, what surface we can work on, and basically making sure that looks much better. And it's not just about making it look better, but at the same time making sure that is much more like straightforward to use, much kind of easier to understand, maybe much more ergonomic. So that's pretty much how we work.
Awesome. I believe that's just about all the time we have for questions, but how would you like people to contact you if they have any extra questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's hello@startermentis.space. You can find it on the website, or if you want to join us, there's application on the website. If you click join us tab, there would be like this kind of questions that you will ask, and you also upload your CV and portfolio if you have one. And yeah, but the best way it's email, social media not the best way as to this day. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. It was really great hearing from you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. It was such a pleasure. And just enjoy the rest of your space symposium day. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.